Greetings, family. We had some technical difficulties, so this is part two of our Kwanzaa presentation. So, the fifth day is Nia, and I was speaking about Nia being purpose. So, that fifth day of Kwanzaa, when we talk about purpose, I think about men like Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, Madam C.J. Walker, Mahatma Gandhi, people who truly lived their purpose to the fullest. Dr. King, knowing that he was able to use Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent tactics to help to change the face of American society with the civil rights movement, that was truly purpose driven. And just to acknowledge that if it were not for the example of Gandhi in India, what would have been other alternatives here in the United States of America for Dr. King to lead the civil rights movement into integration? And also Malcolm X for the Black Power movement. Malcolm X did a lot to um, just awaken the consciousness of Black America and even in those uncomfortable places, white America, and to go on and be a universal force to be reckoned with as a Pan-African. Truly, that was purpose. We talked about Harriet Tubman earlier. Harriet Tubman freed over 300 enslaved Africans. She went back south 19 times using the Underground Railroad to free more Africans. And when you think about that, Harriet Tubman, she actually had fainting spells from a head injury that she had during childhood. And she was able, despite that, to continue to go back and never get caught, never lose a passenger. That's truly purpose. When I think of a person like Madam C.J. Walker, who we discussed being the first woman millionaire, the first Black millionaire in this country, that was truly purpose for her to be so driven and focused and to really set her intention and see it through to the end. So purpose is a real thing. Purpose is, it can and should be a driving force of how we choose to show up in the world. Oftentimes, we are not acknowledging as a people that we have experienced a lot of trauma. We are also suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, post-traumatic slave syndrome, and sometimes we re-traumatize each other through our trauma. And that is something that definitely needs to be addressed and healed within us individually and as a people. That, our purpose, we should be really clear that we come here to help each other and not to hurt each other. We come to shine our light into this world and to do good and to really be clear about what our purpose is. Oftentimes, being in community is extremely key in learning your purpose. And if you are clear about your purpose, what best way to serve and share your purpose? What best way to serve and share your gifts and talents but to do it in community? And so in community, oftentimes, that's when we really learn who we are, being in relationship with other people. There's an African proverb that says, I don't need a mirror when I have a true sister. When I have a true sister, I need no mirror. And that the gist and the meaning of that is actually saying that when we have other people who are around us who are true and real sisters and brothers, that we don't need a mirror because they will be our mirror. They will help us see ourselves. And so that's a really important thing to recognize, that purpose is often not just found but shared in community. Sometimes other people will see your gifts and talents that you don't see in yourself, or you may acknowledge it but you don't really make a big deal out of it, and other people can help you see that and honor that in you and encourage you to cultivate that. when you learn what your purpose is and other people helping you to see that sometimes is key, it's also important to surround yourself around people who have similar interests and talents, or people who are successfully doing that thing that you've been called to do. So, again, purpose is connected to community, how we serve, how we live in our community, as well as being able to find and cultivate that purpose. Community is key in that way. So, as we move into this new calendar year, I would encourage and challenge you to think about something that's important to you, something that you work really hard to do. And then I say that when you love something, then it doesn't really feel like work. Or when you find your purpose, then there's passion for that purpose, and that allows you to be able to do things with supernatural strength that the average person can't even understand how you're able to do that. So I've actually lived that, and I know that having a purpose driven life and being very passionate about your purpose allows you to do things that is beyond physical limitation. And so the fifth day is purpose. Moving on to the sixth day, we're almost to the seventh day and wrapping it up. So the sixth day is Kaumba, and Kaumba is a Swahili word for creativity. And creativity is a very important way of expressing ourselves. We are such a creative people. I remember in the 90s, there was a Brother Hassan. He had his own radio show and network, and it was called WACP. And WACP was an acronym for We Are Creative People. And I love that acronym. I love that saying, because we are the creators of everything. Not only are we a creative people, but we are the creators of everything: music, dance, art, architecture, science, medicine, technology, mathematics. We are a creative people, and we are co-creators with the Most High. And so it is an honor to be able to see throughout history all of the beautiful things that we have created. When I think of creativity, I also think of music. Music is definitely a source of healing and therapy for me. And I love Bob Marley and his saying, when music hits you, you feel no pain. It is the one thing that when it hits you, you feel no pain. And I am definitely concerned about the music that I'm seeing in the 21st century for my son's generation and younger. If you're 25 and under, it seems that as opposed to music being used as a tool for healing, it's being used as a weapon of mass destruction. Specifically, the hip hop industry really is concerning me. The female hip hop artists are on the rise right now. They're dominating the scene, and their lyrics are just quite offensive, disturbing, and alarming. And I think about my sons and, what the women of their generation are listening to, and, what are the chances of them being able to find virtuous, godly women based on the way that they're attacking our youth through the music industry. So I think that's something serious that we should be in discussion about, and not just in discussion because faith without works is dead. We need to talk it and walk it. We need to be having conversation and paying attention to what our youth are listening to. If you are around the young people, pay attention to what they're listening to. And if you are listening to this show and you are a music creator, content creator, you produce music, you write music, you perform, please be mindful and know that everything that is popular is not right, and everything that is right is not popular. And we really need to pay attention to how we can create music that has a positive message with positive lyrics. There are music icons from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even the 90s who the music is just so powerful and still relevant to this day. It's timeless, like Marvin Gaye, and he has that song "What's Going On," and he's talking about environmental justice issues that are still, prevailing today. He's talking about police brutality still going on to this day. Stevie Wonder, Love's in Need of Love Today. That is still true to this day. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Keep Your Head to the Sky, and many, many more artists, many more songs with positive lyrics that still hold true today. So I encourage you, if you are in the music industry, music is a great way to express ourselves. And I would encourage you to take time out to think about the positive lyrics and positive messages that can be put in the songs. I noticed that, with reggae, there was a time where, it was a lot of conscious music being put out. And then it turned to slackness. And then I've seen it happen with Afro beats as well, where Fela Kuti, he started off with political messages in his music, and now, the lyrics in the Afrobeat songs are, very similar to the hip hop music today. There was a time where hip hop music, and it still is somewhat, but it's underground, where you can find people that have conscious lyrics. So it's really important for us to consider how we use music as a tool for healing and not a weapon of mass destruction. And as scripture says, no weapons formed against us shall prosper. So I claim that we have the opportunity to turn around what's going on in the music industry. Okay, so moving on to our last day, the seventh day of Kwanzaa. The seventh principle is Imani, and Imani stands for faith. And that is a great principle to end the 7 days of Kwanzaa with. And we know, as I just said, faith without works is dead. So we definitely have to go out here and put our faith to work, put our faith into action. It takes the faith of a mustard seed, and the mustard seed is so small, it's like a little dot. But faith is important. Faith is, something that sometimes we take for granted. We have faith that our body will work, that our heart will beat, that our lungs will involuntarily just work. We have faith that when we walk, that our legs will move. So some of the things that, we take for granted on a daily basis, it may not necessarily be just taking it for granted, looking at it as half full instead of half empty. It's also just having faith in these things that they will work. So I encourage us to remember that good always conquers evil, that good and evil cannot dwell in the same place, and that if we choose to be on the side of goodness and righteousness, we will always win. And so I leave you with that encouragement to think about something that you believe in and that you want to do this year. What is that something that if you could do it, you would do it? What is that something that you've already done, that you have proof in your life, that you have faith that you could achieve it and you did? So I encourage you to walk in faith every single day of your life. And we very much appreciate you listening to the Alkebulan radio show on Caribbean Life. We are so grateful for the Caribbean Life family and for all of our faithful listeners. And we encourage you to have a happy 2025. Thank you so much for listening to the Alkebulan radio show. Peace and love, family. We are doing it. We are ready to thrive in 2025. And this is Alkebulan Ma'at. And we are sounding off the airwaves now. Peace and love, family. Thank you for listening. See you soon.